We're kicking off a new series today called Moods. And before I tell you what it's all about, I have a question for you. What's your favorite song? I know that's kind of a tough question. If you're anything like me, your favorite song probably changes all the time. When I'm feeling really good and really happy, I love to listen to Lauren Daigle or Corey Ashburn. And when I'm trying to pump myself up for a big game or get excited about something challenging, I listen to like AC/DC or 12 Stones. And the list can go on and on for every emotion. Maybe you're the same way. You've got a favorite song that speaks to what you're dealing with. You've got a song that fits each feeling, one that matches every mood, one that reflects the emotions you might be experiencing. Maybe you hear the word emotions and you think, oh yeah, I know what emotions are, happy, mad, sad. Or maybe you hear the word feelings and you think, oh, I'm totally familiar with that word. I'm always hungry. That's a feeling, right? Well, sort of. See, as middle schoolers, you're probably feeling 1,000,001 things every single day. And while hunger is definitely a feeling you get in your stomach when you're hungry, what we're talking about today is a little bit different. We're talking about the things that you feel in your mind. Now, chances are you might not always know how to talk about what you're feeling. You know you're feeling something, but you may not be sure exactly what to call it. That's because feelings can change quickly. And often, what you're feeling goes beyond the feelings you have words for. Sometimes you're more than just mad. Sometimes it's your mom grounded you this week mad. Or your best friend didn't invite you to the party mad. Or maybe it's your parents are in a fight again, sad. You scored a winning goal, happy. Or you finally got your own room, happy. See what I mean? Sometimes what we're feeling is so much more than just words we have. It's so much deeper than just happy, sad, or mad. So what do we do with all these moods? Here's what everyone in this room needs to know. Emotions are a good thing, even the bad ones. Feeling what we feel is actually a great and healthy thing to do. But at some point, we've all probably struggled or been told we struggle with managing many different moods that we have. And that looks different for all of us. Maybe you tend to avoid letting your feelings and emotions show because you don't want to seem weak. But here's the thing, having feelings doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. Maybe you've said or done something out of the ordinary because of what you were feeling. Maybe it was something you regretted. Maybe you yelled at your parents when you were angry, or threw something at your sibling when you were frustrated, or stormed out of the room and slammed the door when you were overwhelmed. Now, typically, these aren't things you usually do or say. That's because, like a lot of us, you got caught reacting to your feelings. Like we all have at some point in our lives. You got stuck letting your emotions tell you what to do. In other words, you let your emotions be the boss of you. And honestly, we all do this. We all struggle with controlling our feelings instead of letting them control us. After all, it's hard to say no to our feelings when they're so strong. It's hard to take control of our feelings when our feelings seem like they have all the power. See, the problem with this isn't that we have feelings. There's nothing wrong with having a feeling or even developing a mood. The problem starts when we let our feelings become the boss of us, when we let our moods tell us how to act or what to do. The thing that I love about Jesus is so much of what he teaches is helpful for everyone. Whether you consider yourself a Jesus follower or not, there's something you can take from what we're going to talk about today. It's something really cool that Jesus said during his time here on earth, and I think it can help us. Something that shows us how to control our moods rather than letting them control us. And here's what I think is cool about this. Not only can we trust what Jesus says about our feelings because he's God himself, we can also trust him because he was human too. When Jesus came to earth, he came as a human, and that means he experienced what we do. He knows what it is to feel all those feelings. So when he talks about emotions, we can trust that he knows what he's talking about. So let us take a look at what Jesus had to say to a group of people about feelings. Jesus started here by pointing out that there's so much more to our actions or words. That long list of stuff he talked about here, the evil thoughts, the pride, the foolishness, the deceit, and the greed, those are all things that start from within. They are an overflow of what we feel in our hearts. And when we aren't paying attention, what we feel in our hearts can take over and become the boss of us, controlling what we do and what we say. Because of that, we need to take our moods more seriously. We have to pay attention to how we feel because of how we feel motivates how we act. Our moods come out in words, our actions, our choices, and more. Now, I get that this isn't gonna be easy. We not only have to identify what we feel, but we also need to pay attention to how it makes us act. How are we supposed to not let our feelings be the boss of us when feelings are so strong? Well, I think Jesus understood that this was gonna be hard. He knew that whether you're 11 years old or 103 years old, this was going to be a struggle. That's why I think Jesus also said this. See, this feeling stuff is hard, and Jesus knew that. And that's why he offers to do it with us. When we're feeling something and it's intense, Jesus tells us to come to him. When we're tempted to let our moods come out in a terrible way and our emotions are out of control, difficult to understand, or simply making us act in ways that we don't typically act, Jesus tells us to come to him. Maybe you're thinking that this all sounds great, but you're not really sure what it looks like to go to Jesus. Well, going to Jesus can mean different things to each of us. Maybe for you it's trusting for the first time that Jesus is with you, or it's reading your Bible. You can be comforted that he is always right there with you. And here's what I want you to remember. When you feel like your moods are controlling you, Jesus will give you rest. He'll give you help. He'll give you a break from that weight that you're feeling. He'll help lead you in a better way. We can go to him with anything that we're feeling because he's not scared of our big feelings. He wants us to trust him through all of them. He is a better boss than our emotions will ever be. So often, it feels like our feelings are the boss of us. But here's what I want you to know today. Because of Jesus, emotions don't have to be the boss of you. So what does that mean? What exactly does it look like to take a step back from letting our feelings be in control? What does it look like to not let your emotions be the boss of you? Well, here are a few things I think that can help you get started. The first one, try to think of the top 1 or 2 emotions you have the hardest time controlling. Think of the ones that end up motivating you to say or do something you wouldn't normally do. Maybe it's rage or sadness or frustration or anxiety or fear. Remember, we said it's important to pay attention to our feelings. When we do or say something that isn't the way we would normally act, stop and think why. The truth is, it may be difficult to do this in the moment, so trust me, it's going to take practice. Second, talk about your feelings. For some of us, this comes super easy, but for others, it's not very fun or easy. For some of us, talking about our feelings is, well, awful. I'm just asking each of us to identify what we're feeling, to check in with ourselves, to name our moods, and to remember it's not wrong to feel a certain way. Feelings are real, but sometimes by talking about it, we discover there are a few other feelings attached to that feeling, and it helps us gain some perspective. And last but not least, be kind to yourself. This one is so important. If there's one thing I want you to know today, it's that your feelings aren't bad. And feeling them, talking about them, or experiencing them isn't bad either. Remember, we said this whole managing our mood things wasn't gonna be easy. So be kind to yourself when you don't always get it right. Don't beat yourself up about how you feel or how you act because of how you feel. Give yourself the chance to do it differently next time. To not let your feelings be the boss of you. To take it to Jesus and ask him for his help. And remember, emotions don't have to be the boss of you. Now, I know it's easy to stand up here on stage and talk about it, but when it's in real life, it's not so easy. Real life is complicated, and so are real feelings. That's why we made sure everybody here knows about the landing on Thursday nights, where you can meet a small group leader who happens to be a human and happens to have feelings as well. These people show up every week because they care about you. And that makes them a safe person to go to with your real questions about your real feelings. They're here to help you realize that emotions don't have to be the boss of you. So as you head out into real life today, I want you to consider talking to them about this question. When was a time you remember letting your emotions be the boss of you?